Hey guys, Travis here at Riot Games on the second day of the LCS NA qualifiers. I'm joined by Ecco of Team MRN. They're a mid player. So Ecco, yesterday we saw two really intense games from you guys, including a base race, one of the closest base races I've ever seen. So what happened in that first game that sort of led to that base race, and then you going back and sort of saving the game?
It was a pretty crazy game. I did really well in mid. I got a good early kill on Nia and Tosh, and it just kind of snowballed. And then we had a really good fights, and then we had a bad fight at Dragon that ended up putting the game pretty even. And so we ended up wanting to push top because it was the last outer turret left, and so it wasn't the best call because we had a turret down in mid already, and so they could have just pushed it because we didn't have that many wards up. But we just ended up making the call, just going for it. And then at the last second, Heartbeat was telling me to go back, just defend. And I ended up backing like right as the inhibitor turret was going down. And so I kind of stayed back because if I died, the game was going to be over. And so they killed the first in Nexus turret, but I just put down my ult, queued them, then did a wall, and they like started backing up. So I think they weren't really expecting me to back at first. And so they had a Mumu, which is high, flash ult me, I think, to stall for the rest of their teammates to back so they could defend and then hopefully come back and win the game. But it didn't really work out because I was able to kill high because he didn't have his flash and I was a Nivea. And then we were able to stop all our backs because Claykey ended up backing as well. And so we were just able to take down their Nexus. But it was really, really close because there was like a moment where they were all backing for like 3 seconds and they went for it again and then they started backing again. And so they weren't really on the same page. They didn't really know exactly what to be doing. And so I think if they're all on the same page and they just went for a Nexus, it would have been a lot closer and they might have been able to win it.
And then, of course, after that first game, we had the really crazy second game. You guys it's always hard, I think, for some pro players to know like the goal differences and all that stuff. But as a spectator, it looks like you guys possibly had already lost the game. You had this amazing comeback. Did you feel as though the game was already lost, or were you pretty confident the entire time you could make a comeback?
I personally felt like the game was lost because I messed up early game. We had a good advantage mid, and I was zoning Cassidy. I was up almost 30 CS, which is a pretty big lead. Cassidy was only at like 30 CS 9 minutes, which is god awful. But I knew Nocturne was ganking me, but I was being a little arrogant, and I didn't think I could die. And so I ulted under tower when the leash was on me, and I got silenced, and I guess the leash didn't break. I don't remember exactly. But I ended up giving an early kill, which is just god awful because they gave up our lead. And then I got ganked again, and I ended up dying because Nocturne cast in, and my first back, I remember I had 1,300 gold. I'm like, should I get Merc Treads now or not? Because it really affects the silence, and I decided not to, and it ended up causing me to die again because the silence lasts so long. And so I knew I had messed up, and I knew we were in a bad position, and then we lost a 2-for-2 top, and then for some reason they did the same 2-for-2 bottom, and they lost it again 0-2, and so we're down 6-0. And we had a huge deficit, and I'm like, our comp was pretty cheesy. It was a Tarek Urgot comp, and it was like a very early game comp. Heartbeat said if we lose our lanes, we're gonna lose the game, and so I was kind of like, okay, the game's. In the back of my head, I thought the game was over. I'm like, okay, we're gonna have to play Quantic again. This sucks because they were talking a little bit of trash to us, and so I wanted to stay just with a win over them. So, and then we ended up having a dragon fight, which we lost. We lost at 5-for-3, and they got dragon, and so. I think it was like 15 minutes. They said we were down 6K gold, which is like almost impossible to come back from that early. But we just kept getting small advantages. We had a point where we had Mega Zero on Riven, Flash W, Nocturne, who had Oracle, and we got a quick kill on him. We had Urgot Flash ult too, I think. And we just kept getting small advantages until it kind of climaxed at a point at Baron where Cassin and Rift walked into my charm, and we were able to insta-give them because they were baiting us into a Baron because we thought they were doing it because they had Cho'Gath bottom split pushing with teleport. But we got an early kill on Cassidon, and then they still kind of fought after, and then they decided, oh crap, we're going to lose, we should get out of here. But I was the only one who died because my only job that fight was to kill Graves and hurt him as much as I can, so I was dying every team fight, so I was already behind. But we got a 5-for-1 in Baron, and then the kills were pretty even, and I think we were probably pretty even on gold there. I think they were swapping turrets. But it just kind of kept snowballing, and we were just able to keep getting small advantages and eventually win the game.
So twice now you've mentioned that Heartbeat sort of made a call, or Heartbeat, had said something about it. Is he the guy that's sort of helping to lead your team and make all the calls on the team?
Yeah, he is our major play caller. He comes up with all of our team comps. He pretty much is the main person in Champ Select, and when we do what picks, we have a little bit of arguments because he doesn't like my champ pool as much. He doesn't think it's broad enough because I don't play like the really flavor of the month stuff like Eve and Rise as much.
Right.
So, but my argument is that I play pretty safe champions that I don't think are going to get nerfed for a very long time. And so I'm pretty sure Eve and Rise are going to get the nerf back pretty soon. So I'm just kind of playing it safe. I'm comfortable with my champ picks. He doesn't like them as much, but they're obviously working out.
All right, so today you guys go up against the Brunch Club, and of course, as people have pointed out, that's Clicky D versus Nick Wu, the brothers. Has it sort of taken a toll on you guys as a team, or are you guys just sort of want to smash them? Like, what's the attitude and mentality going into that match tonight?
Well, it's definitely bittersweet for Clicky D because it is his brother, but he was talking when the brackets originally came out, him and his brother were talking, saying this was the ideal situation because no matter what, one of them are going to get the salary if we ended up playing. Yeah. And so it's the best situation for them, but for us, I mean, I don't know his brother that well. I mean, I want him to do well, but it's about us. We want to win. We have a little bit of inside strats because Clicky D is his brother. We know a lot about the team, and so I think we have a really good chance to beat them in advance. But even if we don't, we're pretty confident against the teams left because it's going to be Meat Playground and Azure are pretty much guaranteed to be in that wild card because there's no way they're going to beat Curse of Fear. And so we're confident against them. I think Meat Playground's probably the weakest team here. And we already beat Azure in the comeback game, so I think we can beat them when we don't lose early game. So I think no matter what, we have a very good chance of qualifying.
So you guys are on Team Marn, and Team Marn, I think it's really funny for everyone. They're just sort of a funny team in the scene because there's so much hype around you guys. I don't know exactly even what the formula is that creates that, whether it's Marn creating stuff or it's just sort of like the fighting game community supporting, or some elements of the fighting game community supporting you guys, or what it is. But you guys have a lot of fans. They're all chanting. They're going crazy on Twitter. Like the Twitch chats go insane or whatever. Is that sort of a cool experience for you to sort of be a part of this huge amount of hype? Does it help you guys out?
Yeah, it's a really great experience. This is the first big team I've been on, and for people to be so supportive of us, it's really great. They weren't as supportive of us yesterday. I don't think anyone predicts us to go 2-0, and I don't think a lot of people predict us to even make it out of the groups. But when we do well, people kind of bandwagon behind us, and even if it is kind of bandwagony, it does feel great to have people supporting you.
So I was talking to Mega Zero yesterday about Marn and his role on the team. I said, is Marn this like a genius guy that's coming up with all sorts of stuff for you and supporting it? Or I think he described him as the #1 cheerleader. Yeah. What's it like having Marn as the owner, sometimes manager of the team?
It's definitely a very good experience because I actually ended up replacing him right before the deadline for the roster. And so I've only been on the team for a couple of weeks. But I had always known about Marn. I actually followed the fighting game community pretty closely for the last couple of years, so I always knew who he was. But even though he comes off kind of arrogant and stuff in interviews, that's just his attitude. He really does care about the team. He really supports us. He tries to help us out with strats, but we usually ignore it. But he does help, and he's just really supportive of us. He's a really good guy.
All right, so you mentioned that you actually come from StarCraft and that you had played some StarCraft before this for a while, got into League. What's that transition been like for you? What made you transition over?
Well, I originally just got into StarCraft. That was my first real competitive PC game. I had actually played Halo competitively before that. So I came from a console background. And I had one of my friends, Ace Hawk, who recommended me getting into StarCraft with him. At first, I didn't want to. I was kind of just not sure if that's really the direction I wanted to go. But once I got into it, it's just such an amazing game. I just really got hooked. And I spent a couple of years on it. I was playing League on the side a little bit casually, just with friends, but I never really took it seriously. And so I went to MLG Anaheim 2011 and 2012 just on my own. The second time I was on a team, but I had to pay for my flight or anything. I wasn't on a pro team. And I had mediocre results because StarCraft is really stressful. Definitely when you're on a team supporting you, it's hard to stay motivated all the time and always keep practicing because it's really hard to break into the scene. Definitely because when I started to get better, that was when all the Koreans and stuff were flying into the events and it made it that much worse. Because at MLG Anaheim 2012, first round, I got matched up against like a good Korean and I got knocked out. It's like bad bracket, and there's only so much you can do. But I ended up, my team was going to fly me to the next event, which I think was MLG Raleigh, and at the last second they backed out and said they didn't have the funds. And so I was really disappointed because I was grinding like 8 hours a day of StarCraft, just really preparing because I thought that was going to be the event where I was really going to be able to prove myself. And so when that happened, I just kind of took a break. I was just watching streams. I wasn't even really playing anything. And so I was like, Season 3 is coming up. just maybe this will be a better decision for me because I enjoy League of Legends. Maybe I can just take my shot at this, and it's paying off because this is the most publicity I've ever gotten.
Yeah. Well, really good. Do you have any shout-outs to any of the fans or anything you want to say?
Shout out to my friend Ace Hawk, who originally got me into computer games. He's been a long-time friend of mine and just a really good guy. Shout outs to Froden and Robin from StarCraft 2. They're 2 casters, so I've been friends with them a long time. And shout outs to my friend Talandra, who really supported me in the beginning of League of Legends and with me getting on good teams and kind of helped me get this spot.
Really good. Well, I hope you guys do well tonight against the Brunch Club. I'm sure they're going to be really good matches, especially with the brothers going up against each other. So best of luck tonight, and hope to see you guys in Season 3.
All right, thank you.
For everyone, this is Travis signing out. You can check out the rest of our LCS and a qualifier coverage at gamespot.com/esports.